Hare Krishna. It is said that Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita is like a PhD in the science of Bhakti. In the Antya Leela, many confidential pastimes of Sri Radha Krishna and the profound truth of Radha Tattva are revealed, teachings far beyond ordinary material understanding. Srimati Radharani says, "If my suffering gives happiness to Krishna, then that suffering becomes my greatest joy. नागणी अपना दुख सबे बांछी तार सुख आमार तात्पर्य मोरे जदि दिया दुख तार हईल महासुख सेई दुख मोर सुख वर्य." I do not care for my own personal misery. I only desire Krishna's happiness, for his happiness is the sole purpose of my life. If he feels great joy by giving me suffering, then that suffering becomes my greatest happiness. How is this possible? How can suffering become happiness? A conditioned soul cannot understand this on his own. Therefore, the Lord sends his intimate devotee, who through Acharya Leela explains these sublime mysteries in a practical way. Srila Gour Govinda Swami Maharaj beautifully explained the mood of Radharani and the meaning of this verse through one of his divine pastimes, an experiential teaching. This year 2025, one of the foremost disciples of Srila Gour Govinda Swami Maharaj, His Grace Jagdish Pandit Das, arrived in Bhubaneswar from Australia to participate in the Rath Yatra festival at ISKCON Bhubaneswar. Taking this opportunity, we heard from him several divine pastimes of Srila Gurudev. Today we present one such pastime that reveals the hidden secret of spiritual life, how suffering can become the highest pleasure. In a previous video, we mentioned how Jagdish Pandit Prabhu once arrived before Srila Gour Govinda Swami Maharaj with a suitcase full of cash. Srila Gour Govinda Swami Maharaj had entrusted him with the sacred duty of collecting Lakshmi for the construction of the Bhubaneswar temple, a mission to which His Grace Jagdish Pandit Prabhu dedicated his entire life. Day and night his mind and heart were absorbed only in one thought: how to gather as much contribution as possible for the service of Srila Gurudev. His Grace Jagdish Pandit Prabhu remembers, Srila Gurudev was the center of our life and soul, and his order was our very religion. To some disciples he entrusted the sacred responsibility of collecting funds for building the Bhubaneswar temple. Among us there was always a spiritual competition, who could collect the most. Once when I was in Australia and fully absorbed in the thought, how can I collect the maximum for Srila Gurudev before my return to India the next month? One morning I obtained an appointment with a donor for a major contribution. My heart was full of joy and excitement. I prayed to Gopal, "Please bless me so I may successfully collect a generous donation for the loving service of Srila Gurudev." After offering this prayer to Gopal, I set out confidently on the bright Australian highway of Darwin City. Suddenly, through my rear view mirror, I saw a motorcycle racing toward my car at tremendous speed, not less than 130 km per hour. The rider had a dog with him and seemed intoxicated. I thought of giving him way and tried to move aside, but before I could react, the motorcycle violently smashed into the back of my car. The crash was terrible. The rider flew to one side, his bike shattered, and the dog was thrown in the opposite direction. I immediately stopped, made a U-turn and rushed to help the injured man. The rider could barely stand. His collarbone was broken and he was in agonizing pain. As I compassionately approached and asked, "Can I help you?" the man stared for a moment and asked, "Are you the driver?" I replied, "Yes," and suddenly he smashed his left fist straight into my right eye. Instant swelling, dark bruising around my right eye. The man was enormous, over 6 feet 5 inches, built like a professional wrestler. Though severely injured, he was able to struck me so hard. In few moments, the dark bruising appeared around the other eye as well. Blood poured from my nose. Soon we were both taken to the same hospital and admitted side by side. I feared further attack, but the man's broken collarbone prevented him. The injury was severe. Due to nasal bone damage, blood continued to flow for 32 days whenever I bent forward. I could not leave home, could not drive, and all my collection plans collapsed. A surge of pride, anger, and disappointment began arising within me against Lord Krishna. Day after day, I silently questioned Gopal in my heart. Gopal, what is this? Why did you let this happen? You could have easily stopped it. Not even a leaf moves without your will. Then how could that wrestler attack me? You knowingly allowed this to happen. My Gurudev considers you his very life. He always glorifies you with such deep devotion. Yet, look at what you did. On his order, I was collecting funds for your service. But you did not allow it to happen. If you had wished, the situation could have been entirely different. When I go to Bhubaneswar, I will definitely complain to Gurudev about you. I will tell him, Gurudev, see, you glorify Gopal so much, but he did not protect me. Then Gurudev will ask you for an answer, and you will have to respond. I will certainly bring your indifferent and uncaring behavior before Srila Gurudev. For 32 days I remained shut inside my home, unable to drive my car and go out. I was not able to collect a single dollar. Every day my mind churned with complaints against Gopal. As the day of my traveling to India approaching nearer, I was preparing inside my mind how I am going to lodge the complaint to Srila Gurudev against his dear Gopal. Finally, the day arrived to travel to India. My heart was truly overjoyed to have returned to India. Although my soul felt immense bliss upon touching the holy soil of Bharat once again, my mind was still burdened with many complaints against Gopal. It was as if I was entangled in a web of grievances, questions, doubts, and unspoken emotions that I wished to place before Srila Gurudev. When I arrived in ISKCON Bhubaneswar, it was noon time. Srila Gurudev's Bhagavatam class had just ended. Gurudev was walking out of the temple towards his hut, surrounded by hundreds of devotees. When I saw Srila Gurudev, I was overwhelmed. From a distance, I offered my full Dandavat Pranam and stood quietly, trying to pacify my trembling heart by just watching at Gurudev's lotus face. After some time, suddenly from a distance, Srila Gurudev's eyes met mine, and to my astonishment, Gurudev began walking straight toward me, gently parting the crowd around him. Everyone wondered why Gurudev was coming in that direction. He stopped directly in front of me, looked deeply into my eyes and said, Jagdish, if causing me suffering gives pleasure to Krishna, then that suffering becomes my greatest happiness. Stunned, motionless, speechless, I could not move. Gurudev then repeated in a thunderous voice, Understand clearly, Jagdish. If Krishna becomes happy by giving me misery, then that misery is my supreme joy. Without a single question, without my uttering even a word, Gurudev answered everything. That day I realized two eternal truths. The depth of Srimati Radharani's mood. If Krishna's happiness lies in giving me suffering, then that suffering is my highest joy. And second, Guru and Krishna are non-different. Guru is the manifestation of Paramatma. The instructions of the Guru are the life and soul of the disciple. This is the heartbeat of devotion. Our acharyas taught this not by theory, but by living example. Srila Prabhupada dedicated his entire life to fulfilling the order of his Guru, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, enduring 3 heart attacks and traveling alone to the West at the age of 69 to spread Krishna consciousness. Similarly, Srila Gour Govinda Swami Maharaj endured unimaginable struggle to fulfill his Gurudev's order, building the Bhubaneswar temple through 14 years of austerity, living among snakes and spirits in the jungle, walking 25 km daily, pleading for funds to keep the ashram alive. When many Western devotees approached Srila Gour Govinda Swami Maharaj for taking shelter at his lotus feet, Maharaj said to them, My Guru Maharaj has sent you all to assist me in fulfilling his desire. In this way, he engaged his disciples in collecting funds for building the last founded project of Srila Prabhupada, the 108th ISKCON Bhubaneswar temple. Among those disciples, Jagdish Pandit emerged prominently in Lakshmi collection. Finally, the temple was inaugurated in 1991, although many works remained, including the restaurant and guest house. So collection continued. Because Srila Gour Govinda Swami Maharaj wanted to ensure that the temple should match to the desire of his Guru. This is the living practical teaching of our acharyas, which we sing every day. Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chittete Korya Oikea Arna Koriha Mane Asa. Make the words from the lotus mouth of Sri Guru one with your heart and entertain no other desire. The instruction of the Guru is the very life of the disciple. For any ordinary living being, the only path to attain Krishna is to wholeheartedly follow the orders of the spiritual master. A disciple should have no independent desires of his own. His only aspiration must be fulfill the desire of his Guru. This is the core teaching of our Gaudiya tradition. Bhagavat Dharma and Bhakti are not for the body or mind, they are for the soul. Physical pleasure or pain have no meaning in Bhakti. In truth, when suffering is endured for Krishna, it transforms into the highest bliss. Therefore, our Acharya Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur sings, Tomar sevaye dukha hoy jata seoto parama sukha. Seva sukha dukha parama sampada nasay avidya dukha. The suffering I went through in your service is my highest pleasure. Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Gour Govinda Swami Maharaj. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.